Is Arukh HaShulchan Yardeh Siman Lamed Sif Tes Vav Yud Ches. This is supplemental day 161 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi cycle. Tes Vav. Kasar Rabbeinu B'Sifra Gadol. Beis Yosef writes, Medina Kam Shesh Mechisar in terms of holes which have are missing substance of the skull. Im Ein Bein Nekev and Nekev Koli Nekev. If there isn't between each hole the breadth of a hole. Also the part which is hole between the holes, part which is a hole WHOLE, between the holes HOLES, is joins up for the cellar. Like we'll see in the trachea. Similar down. Does not bring this down. Do not bring this down either. Right. The nation it's not like the trachea. Where the trachea is on account of its own self. The kruma rach is a soft membrane. Is supposed to the skull. Trachea had a krum. Trachea is on account of the membrane. But some kasheh, and the bone is hard. Who tummy again, so it always protects, even if there is the WHOLE part between the HOLE parts. Is HOLES parts is not larger than the cavities. This is also in the Achronim. The pre-chodesh, okay, so placed in full short also seems to hold that way as well. Tesai, ofa mine, waterfowl, abzo, like geese, bar abzo, whatever a bar abzo is. I feel only cave etzem koshu, even if the skull is only pierced the slightest amount. It's trefah. Kruma rock goes its membrane is soft. When the skull is pierced, I feel a mashu, even a small, minute amount the membrane will not survive. That's one of dafun vav. I feel for dafun vav. I feel even there's no substance missing of the skull in the hole. Banekev, the trefah, it's trefah. That's its full short. I feel a static mashu trefah. Even a minute's crack is trefah. Also do a short. Or if, however, only the flesh is ripped by etzem shleimus and the skull is intact, I'll be sure dam, even though it's bleeding, kosher, that's kosher, that's has to be chodesh. Chenim ein sham rak nipuach. Also, if there's only some bloating, and when you remove it, etzem kayam, the bone is intact. Ve'ein bo emnekem, there's the whole kosher, that's be chodesh as well. Chenim anekem b'tolda, also if it's a congenital birth defect, this nekem. So then that those who say it's kosher k'mosh is bad, as will become clear in the last sif in the simon. Yud Zayin, v'ovay abasha, a land fowl, nashchas al chulda, which was bitten by a weasel, but she now with its teeth, birosha, in its head, she'eh was a chashash drusa. There's no issue of drusa here, because drusa, rak biad drusa, is only when an animal rips up another animal with its paws. Or it got hurt by a piece of wood or stone. According to the law of the Gemara, you put your finger next to the hole. You stick your finger down there with pressure. You put your hand inside its mouth. You apply pressure that way. If the brain does not bubble out and doesn't come out of the hole, so you know that the membrane of the brain has not been punctured. The animal's kosher. It starts trickling out. Treifa. But we are not conversant with such a tough type of test. In the Gemara itself, it argues about how to check. Over the abashim over my therefore land fowl and waterfowl are the same. And any type of bird goes when there is a hole in the skull after mashu, even the minute amount. Treifa, it's treifa. Even there's a substantial loss. In terms of concussions, between animals and birds, even for us, that's the shach. As we said in Sif Dal. Yud Ches. It's now about 200 years She's Chedesh Dover of Ophos. A new thing happened with birds. Bavozos with geese, Ubarvozos, whenever these offspring of geese are. She yeshim sus and sheshlem neked b'gulos to have some of them have a hole in the skull, betoloda, congenitally. And their membranes are not pierced. Yeshlem similar to chutz. They have a sign on the outside. Notzah sharoshim in the feathers on the head. Shektatz notzah shakokodim, some of the feathers on the foreheads. Boltos yoser protrude more mishari notzahs than the other feathers. Harosh of the head of the feather's head. Sitting notzos, and when you remove these feathers near be'etzuk in the Kohen you will see in the skull something like small holes. There's those where you have to remove the feathers near guma. It seems like an indentation barosh in the head. For shalem, the skin is intact. Rak shakofel latach is just its concave. Guma barosh like an indentation in the head. For shalem. I think I went back on one here. Sorry. Start ripping open the skin. Near Bugos, you'll see in the skull sedek a crack, which reaches to the membrane of the brain. But krum kayam, and the memory is intact. The great people in generation permitted this bird. They should kill king because this is the way they grow. And there's no concern with a puncture of the membrane. Even a limb where the trephus comes on account of a hole in and of itself. Those who want to say that's kosher if the hole is congenital. And sure, certainly by the skull, where its puncture would not be a trephus in and of itself, but rather on account of the eventual damage to the membrane. That we should say it's kosher when the hole is something which is congenital. Even though some would doubt this, nevertheless, the people who permitted are overwhelmed them. And there's a majority, and the matter has come out to be to consider permissible. But in the pocket was saying you cannot cast aspersions on this. Anybody wants to be machmir, should be machmir for himself, and not be machmir unto others. And relatively short day. That's it for today.